Stop very dangerous because health should not ever be politicized. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement given by the Honorable Minister of Health. The Honorable Member for Mongo Central.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Minister of Health, for that comprehensive statement. The people of Mongo are asking a question whether there is any slightest chance that these medicines that do not comply can end up with the patients. We are very much concerned, especially for our cousins in southern province who have a poor reading culture and who just swallow tablets without even understand reading the expiry date. Can you confirm that these medicines can never find themselves directly with the patients? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member of Parliament, for your follow-up question. And on a very serious note, Madam Speaker, it is unthinkable that any government worth its salt can distribute drugs that have been stated to be non-compliant to its people. And to that effect, I want to state here that this government, and indeed any government, would never do such a thing unless they are sick in the head. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Masaiti.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there are a few basic categories of pharmaceutical procurement. In this case, what mode of procurement was applied in engaging Mission Pharma? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Before the Honorable Minister comes, there is an indication. Honorable Member for Chiengi, what is the point of order?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for allowing the voice of Chiengi to rise on the point of order. Madam Speaker, I rise on a very serious point of order on the House, on the leader of opposition. Madam Speaker, the duties of the leader of opposition is to liaise regularly with the Speaker, leader of government business and government chief whip on business of the House, study the government policy and propose possible alternatives on his or her debate, and assist the presiding officers to maintain discipline in the House. Madam Speaker, I've noticed that we have the main opposition political party here, which is PF, and there is a leader of opposition who is hardly in the House. And I'm wondering, as if we're really having a leader of opposition, and also the government, the whip of the opposition, I need your serious indulgence, Madam Speaker, because as it is, I don't think we have opposition. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Now we are drifting from the core business of the House, and I noticed that the leader of opposition and the party PF whip are both not in the House. So the fact that they are not in the House means they are out of order. They should be in the House. So if they are listening wherever they are, please, can you come to the House and ensure that you assist the presiding officers in maintaining order, decorum, and discipline of the House? So for that, there were two honorable members are out of order. Can we make progress? The Honorable Minister of Health.
I hope I'll even remember the question, Madam Speaker, but I think he was asking as to how the drugs in question, how or what was the procurement process? Maybe you should put in a question for that specific question, Madam Speaker, because this statement is talking about the purported drugs that have failed to be compliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Masaiti, the Minister indicates that you can put in a question. Since that question that you have asked does not arise from the ministerial statement that has been rendered. So we can make progress, or you want to say something?
Madam Speaker, drugs were procured. Obviously, there's a process that the minister or the ministry used in procuring these drugs. So it's a very simple, straightforward. That's why I asked the question, Madam Speaker. There are categories, basic categories in the procurement process, especially pharmaceutical procurement. It's a simple thing. Then, Madam Speaker, I put in a question just to be told whether it's A, B, C, D process that was used by the minister or by the ministry. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Health, do you still stand by your position, or what is the position?
Madam Speaker, the ministerial statement arose from a point of order, and you directed me to bring a ministerial statement on the non-compliance of erythromycin procured by ZAMSA. In this statement, there's no sentence that is talking about where these drugs were procured or what process these drugs were procured. Now, indeed, he is right. There's a process of procurement. Let him bring in the question. I'll answer even tomorrow. Because I don't want to mislead the House, Madam Speaker. I can't just answer.
Order, honorable members, honorable members. Maybe for purposes of guidance, when a ministerial statement is rendered, of course it arose from a matter of urgent public importance that was raised, and it was touching on the efficacy of the erythromycin, which was not dissolving. So when an honorable member wants to ask where were these drugs procured, I think it's in order that there can be an indication on how this procurement was done, because the worry here is that how are we procuring medicines which is not dissolving, and people's lives are being put in danger. I think that is what I can say. But if the Honorable Minister is not ready, maybe we can ask her to come back later, and maybe the Honorable Member is agreed that he can put in a specific question.
Madam Speaker, with due respect to the chair, my understanding was that he was asking about the procedures that were followed. If the question was where were the products procured from, the answer is clear and easy: from India. I said Mission Pharma.
Okay, honorable members, let's make progress. Let's make progress. The honorable member will put in a question. Can we make progress? Time is running out. The honorable member for Mambwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the drug in question, erythromycin, what is the current availability of the same drug in the country, whilst pending investigations and conclusions to the usage of this erythromycin? I'm asking about the availability because we are expecting definitely to lose lives, since erythromycin would not be on the market to treat the patients. I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable, for your follow-up question. The Honorable Member may wish to note that when I was reading this statement, I did mention a particular quantity of kits that were bought, and I said that not all the kits were affected, but a particular number of kits were affected. And so, Madam Speaker, what that means is that there are kits that have been distributed or that are being distributed completely with the, what is the number of, with the 58 drugs in the kit, which would include erythromycin. But there's a certain bunch of kits where that particular drug that is non-compliant has been removed. So there will be certain facilities in the country that will receive 57 drugs instead of 58. So as to how many are these, I think the quantities were stated in the statement. I have to go back to the paragraph if I have to be. So Member of Parliament can see me after Parliament. I will show him.
There is a point of order. Honorable Member for Kalabo Central. What's the point of order?
Speaker, order number 65, factual, verifiable information. In her statement, she said, the minister said, the supplies were in two. The first supply was distributed. There was no challenge of any compliance. The second supply, that is according to her statement. According to her own statement.
Order, Honorable Member from Pika, please, can we observe our standing orders? May the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So I was saying, in her own statement, in her own words, the question is on the second supply, meaning the consignment which contains the bunches she's referring to. So which other consignment is she referring that is not affected by non-compliance of erythromycin? Which one? Is she in order to dispute her own statement, which she has laid on the floor of this House? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Let me give the Honorable Minister just to explain that point in terms of how many consignments. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member, for your follow-up question. Madam Speaker, if you may allow, I'll read just the paragraph which has that issue. As part of the regulatory procedure for all products procured, no, let me go to this one. On 25th of October 2023, of the 58 items in the health center kits that were submitted to ZAMRA for testing, only erythromycin tablets bunch number TK293 was found to be non-compliant with respect to the dissolution test conducted. The rest were compliant. The House may wish to know that a total of 16 bunches of erythromycin tablets were tested at the NDQCL, and 2 bunches, number TK297 and number TK291, met the standard procedure test requirements, and a certificate of analysis was issued. So, what does that mean? That there were some bunches that were non-compliant, and in the same consignment, there were some bunches that were compliant. This is what the statement said. Please listen attentively.
Order, Honorable Members, we are trying to clarify a point. Let's just work together in harmony. So there was Honorable Member for Kalabo Central, according to what I hear from the Honorable Minister, there were 16 bunches. A total of 16 bunches means 16 deliveries. Out of the 16, 2 had a problem. So the other deliveries, 14, were just okay. So in terms of information that is factual and verifiable, the Honorable Minister is not out of order. We were on the Honorable Member for... Now, was there a question? Honorable Member for Naloro.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister of Health, thank you for your ministerial statement. Through you, Madam Speaker, I am aware fully aware that the previous government stopped dealing with Mission Pharma. What informed the ministry to renew this relationship with Mission Pharma to the extent that they had supplied defective drugs? I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is true to say that Mission Pharma, even at the time I was minister myself in 2007, Minister of Health then, Mission Pharma was a company that was supplying health center kits to the Ministry of Health. They are the ones that government then agreed on the concept of what we call a health center kit, which would consist of the key drugs that would be used at the lowest level of our health delivery system. And so when we took office, we found that Mission Pharma had refused to continue working with the government, the previous government. And the reason was that they had failed to pay them for drugs that they had already supplied. It was this administration, Madam Speaker, looking at the situation on the ground that we took over, made the decision that let's go back to Mission Pharma. And so we engaged them and asked them to supply the center kits. They refused. They said, until you pay us the money that is owed. It took a bit of time, but finally, the Ministry of Finance released the full payment that was owed to Mission Pharma. I can't remember the figure, but it was quite a big figure, maybe over 10 million or over $20 million. I'm not very sure, but it was quite a big figure. When Mission Pharma was paid that money, we thought that they would immediately send the goods. Because those years, they used to send the goods and you would pay later. And I think that's how there was this deferment. Now, they refused. They said, no, unless we pay them, we guarantee by way of letter of credit, because after their bad experience, their company actually went down. And there were new shareholders now in the company, and therefore they would not accept that the Zambian government can get drugs from them on goodwill. So it was after that that ZAMSA entered into an agreement with them. And that is how a letter of credit was opened, and that's how, only after that letter of credit was issued, that is how they started sending or making the manufacturing the drugs. And that's how we ordered the 42,000 kits, and we agreed that they will be sent in batches according to what is needed in the facilities for a period of 3 months. And that's why you have seen that the first batch, the second batch, there will be a third batch until the end of the year. So, Madam Speaker, it is a company that was established, I think, in Denmark, called Mission Pharma, that has been supplying these drugs from that time. But the drugs are manufactured in China, sorry, in India. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, now that as a country we have beaten both Maputo and Malabo Protocol in terms of allocation to Ministry of Health in terms of budget, and looking at the money we have in the budget, I think it's enough. You have beaten the African Protocol in this allocation. My question to you is, looking at the achievement in this line, is it possible that we can come up with a local manufactured, local setup health kit? Because out of the 58 drugs in that health kit, over 21 or so are locally manufactured. So is it possible that we can come up with a local health kit with medicines manufactured in the country, so that we can easily monitor if we've got like the problem we had? We can easily go back to the manufacturer and tell, can we work on this one? These batches are not okay. So that we can only import health kits with drugs which we cannot locally manufacture. Is it possible that we can go that route? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable, for your follow-up question. Madam Speaker, the House may wish to recall that His Excellency the President on the floor of this House did indicate that, one, this government is pursuing the establishment of pharmaceutical industry in country, working with the European Union and indeed other countries. That is the process on which we are going. The House may wish to know that this country only really have maybe 2 or 3 manufacturing companies. And these, even in terms of capacity, talk about a simple drug like Panadol they produce, but I'll tell you that the capacity to meet the demand is not yet there. And this is why we are trying hard as government to ensure that hopefully within the next 2 years, Zambia should start having a good number of manufacturing plants in the country, so that we don't have to wait months to an end for drugs to come from other countries. And you recall that part of the problem that we had this problem, especially during the COVID time, when industry was just shut down and certain drugs could not come into the country. So yes, what you have asked, Honorable Member, is the thinking of government, and that is exactly what we want to do. And you recall, Madam Speaker, that in the statement that I issued yesterday, when we're talking about drugs, we have said for 2024, which is next year, and looking at the allocation of resources allocated to us, we have made a decision, a policy decision, that part of the drugs, the health center kits must be created or developed or produced by the local suppliers. And if you note, we have indicated a number. We have already started talking about the following year in advance, and we've given an order to the outsiders, but we've left allocation of resources for local manufacturers, and we've said, can you meet this? And so we'll have a double kind of order, one from outside, but one from local. And so that's exactly what we are thinking, in the same way that you are thinking. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Minister, you stated that Mission Pharma wasn't satisfied with the analysis that was done here and opted for an independent firm to do the analysis. Hopefully, that independent firm is credible enough so that when we have the results, they will not be disputed. Is there any time frame when we can receive those results so that you are able to inform this House and the nation about the results of those analyses? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable, for your follow-up question. Indeed, Madam Speaker, the supplier, Mission Pharma, has not accepted the results of non-compliance which have been issued by ZAMRA on that particular bunch. And as per procedure, when a supplier rejects the results of a local test, he has the right to seek an internationally renowned laboratory institute. And in this case, they've gone to South Africa, meaning that all of us, Zambia as the purchaser, and Mission Pharma as the supplier, and our regulatory body, we've all agreed to say, okay, fine, this is the institute that should recheck. And this means that the results that will come out will be acceptable to all parties. So if South Africa says the drugs are okay, Zambia will have to distribute them, because it simply means that they would be right. If South Africa says Zambia was right, that they are wrong, the supplier will have to agree, and he will have to replace the exact quantity that would have been said not to be compliant. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for the opportunity. Honorable Minister, those of us who believe that health is apolitical were quite concerned when reports circulated that there was a recall of drugs. Thank you for putting that to rest, that no drugs were recalled. In this regard, would we be right to, maybe let me ask this way, why was ZAMSA created for? And in this instance, should we castigate or applaud ZAMSA in this particular instance? Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable, for your follow-up question. Personally, I think the institution to applaud is ZAMRA, the regulator, because it is ZAMRA that does the testing of any product that is produced in country in form of drugs or imported in country. Because if we did not have an efficient quality institution of a regulator, they can pass something even when it is not good. But in this case, they have refused to pass it because according to their test results, they have simply said, no, this particular drug is not quality. And ZAMRA has obeyed that instruction. ZAMSA has obeyed that instruction. Again, in this regard, ZAMSA has no right, if I may use that word. They have no choice. Once ZAMRA says no, ZAMSA takes away those drugs from circulation and quarantines them. That is the law. That is the procedure. Personally, I'm happy, Madam Speaker, that ZAMSA is now stabilized itself in terms of procurement. As you can see, even for next year, for the whole next year in advance, they are on top of the matter. Secondly, I'm also happy that ZAMRA, it doesn't matter, even when they did go to India, they did verification on the ground, they found everything to be okay, but still when the drugs came, the first time they said they're okay, the second bunch they said part of it is okay, but this particular one, part of it is not okay. And I think it tells me that the system is working and that there's no political interference in the process. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bwacha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for according me an opportunity to pose a follow-up question on the ministerial statement delivered by the Minister of Health. Madam Speaker, first, allow me to thank the Honorable Member of Bahati for bringing the matter of defective drugs on Thursday, 9th November 2023, to the attention of Zambians through this House. Madam Speaker, the question to the Minister is, Minister, at what point were you going to inform and assure the nation on the non-compliance of ZAMSA for procuring defective drugs if Bahati MP didn't bring this matter to the House? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to use this question. To just give further information to my colleagues that, look, like I said, this is not strange in the procedures of procurement of drugs. Read, check, you'll find that this happens every day. Even today, if ZAMRA had that good financial backing, enough staff to go around the whole country, especially in these border areas, and went into the pharmacies and went and checked every drug. One, they'll find that some of the drugs have expired. Two, they'll find that even a drug which would have been passed, it is possible that it has not been kept well. It's like yogurt. You buy yogurt, it says expiry date is next year, December 2024. You buy it, depending on how you store it, you find that, especially if you expose it in the sun, you don't put it in a fridge, or you put it in the cupboard which is open, you find that it starts getting, it goes off. So it's just normal, Madam Speaker, and please don't say that ZAMSA procured defective medicines. There's a difference here. And don't compare ZAMSA procurement of Mission Pharma drugs to honeybee issues. Completely different. Please.
Oh, order, order. There is a point of order, honorable members. Let's have some order. There was a point of order from the member of Parliament for Mansa Central. Why are other members raising on points of order? In any event, we have even run out of time. I was going to allow the honorable member for Bahati to ask a question, but since the honorable member for Mansa, before the honorable member for Bahati comes in, let's hear what the honorable member for Mansa Central wants to say. The honorable member for Mansa Central.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to rise on this very important point of order. Madam Speaker, as we reset our democracy and avoid sacrificing science at the altar of politics for expedience, it is unfortunate that the minister is politicking over such an important matter. For the record, if a drug fails solubility test, it's dangerous for the public, and it's a matter that must be considered very seriously. It is part of pharmacovigilance to detect it, but equaling it to an event that actually is similar, a replica of what has happened today, is scandalous. It is trivializing a very important matter. And, Madam Speaker, statecraft is about symbolism and ceremony, and intemperament presentations on significant scientific presentations of this matter.
Honorable members, please, can we have some order? Can we have some order? Otherwise, we make progress. Honorable member for Mansa Central, please address the chair, the presiding officer, and raise your point of order.
I'm on record, Madam Speaker, to have explained that what transpired is part of the science of pharmacovigilance. And it is unfortunate that in her tone and in her presentation in the last answer, she is implying that the previous government bought defective drugs and that ZAMRA failed to depict it. And I'm trying to remind her now that what ZAMRA did this time is pharmacovigilance. What ZAMRA did that time is pharmacovigilance. What I would expect you to do, Minister, is provide leadership and ensure.
Order. Honorable members.
Is the Honorable Minister of Health in order? Is the Honorable Minister of Health in order to trivialize a matter of this significance when drugs that correctly put are defective, bought through an illegal procurement process, dangerous for the public consumption, and now linking it to a matter that even no competent court in this country has ever proven and has put it to rest? Is she in order to trivialize such an important matter of pharmacovigilance? And is she in order to continue politicking over health matters?
Honorable members, please, can we make progress? Order, 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 order. Honorable members, it was more a right of reply than a point of order. In any event, the Honorable Member for Mansa Central has not cited the standing order that has been breached. So can we make progress? And as we discuss these issues, Honorable Members, please, I'll proceed to the next if we don't want to maintain order and discipline in the House. So the Honorable Member for Mansa Central, that point of order is not admitted because you did not cite the breach that has been the breach that has occurred. The Honorable, I will use just the Honorable Member for Bahati because he's the one who raised this. I didn't give him an opportunity to ask. Please ask a precise question to the point, do not debate. The Honorable Member for Bahati.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the people of Bahati are so happy with you that you instructed the minister to bring the ministerial statement on the floor of the House concerning the defective, cheap quality drugs procured by the ministry. Madam Speaker, the people of Bahati constituency and the nation at large would want to know what the cost is or the amount of money involved as regards to the defective drugs. Madam Speaker, is the minister also able to procure drugs from other reputable pharmaceutical industries like GSK, Pfizer, Johnson's, instead of opting to go for these cheap, poor quality drugs? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Okay, so as the Honorable Minister prepares to answer that question, there is an indication for a point of order. What's the point of order, Honorable Member? For Zambezi East? Zambezi East.
Madam Speaker, I sincerely thank you for the opportunity to rise on this very serious point of order. Madam Speaker, this House has got rules which govern it. Standing Order number 67, entitled Irrelevance or Repetition, is very instructive in terms of how we conduct business in this House, especially on topics that have been exhausted. This particular topic, Madam Speaker, I think in your discourse one time, you guided the House. Are the members of the opposition in order to repeatedly ask these questions and find this as an avenue of debating, including making insinuations in terms of the quality of the products that have been supplied by Mission Pharma? Madam Speaker, I'm speaking like this because I think I had a stint at Central Board of Health. Mission Pharma has been a renowned company supplying drugs.
Oh, the Honorable Member, Zambezi East, that is, the Minister is going to handle that. Let's just say, Honorable Members. Okay. It looks like we want to make progress. Question for oral answer, Understanding Order 76. The Honorable Member for Mukushi North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to ask question 144.
Order, Honorable Members, we have we have business that we have to transact. If you can take your seat, Honorable Member. Honorable Members, we have to maintain order and decorum in the House. At the rate that we are going, it looks like this subject is a cause of disorder and indiscipline in the House. And I'm not going to allow that. So, under the circumstances, in any way, we had already exhausted the time that was allocated. In the meantime, there is order paper that we have to go through. This is not the only item, and looking at the time, it's already 10:21. We have even not gone halfway through our business. So I would want to go through the business of the day so that I conclude the business on the order paper. So please, Honorable Members, assist me in achieving that goal by being compliant as you are guided. So we are making progress. The Honorable Minister of Energy, and there is no point of order to be raised. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Christopher Chibuye, a Member of Parliament for Mukoshi North Parliamentary Constituency, to ask the Honorable Minister of Energy. Question on power is, during the past 2 weeks, period in question, the transmission and distribution lines that supply power to Mukoshi North constituency experienced adverse weather conditions which caused power outages as outlined below. Thus, on 30th October 2023, there was power failure on the 66 kV Lunsemfa transmission line due to lightning. This caused a 3-hour power outage from 1830 hours to 2130 hours. 2. On 31st October 2023, a 12-meter wood pole on the 33 kV line towards Masansa area was struck by lightning, causing again power outage from 11 hours to about 18 hours. Works were done and power supply was restored. 3. On 2nd November 2023, there was power failure from Lunsemfa hydropower station, which was attributed to a monkey that fell on the 66 kV bus bar at the power station switchyard, thus causing a short circuit. The outage was from 1352 hours to 1751 hours. 4. On 7th November 2023, there was an outage on the 33 kV overhead line towards Masansa due to adverse weather conditions. Complaints were recorded at around 16 hours and 4 were resolved at 17 hours. Madam Speaker, answer to question B. What urgent measures are being taken to resolve this problem? The answer is 1. Construction of a new line from Mukoshi Central Substation, which is fed from Serenje to provide alternative supply to Mukoshi North Parliamentary Constituency, especially supplying Masansa Health Center. The works are in progress and are expected to be completed by the end of this year. 2. Improvements of lightning protection system by repairing aerial earth wire on the 33 kV line towards Masansa. And finally, it is further recommended that a standby genset be procured by the Ministry of Health at Masansa Health Center to ensure continuity of power supply to the health center whenever there is loss of power supply from the national grid. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Mukoshi North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the responses. But I'm surprised that the timings that you are actually putting across that this area, Masansa, had experienced the outages, power outages, are actually very minimal compared to what is on the ground. Because when you look at the differences of 2 hours, 3 hours, I think that cannot raise an alarm compared to what is actually on the ground. I would urge those workers from ZESCO who are feeding the minister to be factual and indeed to be real in the manner that they inform the minister. My question, therefore, would be, how many lines supply power to Mukoshi North constituency, in particular Masansa area? Do we have 3 or 2 lines that really, where we can, if this line drops, then they can switch to this other line? How many lines supply power to this area?
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Member of Parliament well noted. The information I've got which I've already read out, is that there's a new line that is being constructed from Mukushi Central Substation to Masans, which is fed from Serenje to provide alternative supply, and this line will be completed this year. So there's works in progress, Madam Speaker. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bahati.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for the answers you've provided. Minister, ZESCO is constructing a 330 kV line from Bulongoshi step down to Pensulo substation in Serenje. Could this be one of the reasons why parts of Central Province is having power blackouts? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, I don't have such information. Probably the MP has got privileged information, but I can come back to the House and verify the information that has been given. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chipiri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, looking at the situation in Mukushi, north-south, is it that you have, because this is also happening in other areas in this country, is it that you have selected some of the areas for load shedding so that the people are aware? Because there are some areas where power will go in the morning, comes at 12 hours, in the afternoon, just like that. So I want to know whether you have that program. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. For the uptake time, there's no load shedding. What is happening, Madam Speaker, is there is a lot of maintenance work that is happening now. This is in preparation of the rain season that is coming, because we experience a lot of poles falling during the rain season. So there's a lot of poles, electric poles that are being replaced. That is why there's these outages, and there's no load shedding. I can confirm that. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mandevu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I note that there's a new line that is being constructed to avert the power problems that the people of Serenje Mukushi are facing. Minister, how much progress has been made as of today in terms of percentage, in terms of the works that are being carried out, since you say the works will be finished by end of this year? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't have the actual percentage of work done, but the assurance is that this works will be done this year. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lubasenshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Honorable Minister of Energy, I would like to find out from your ministry if your ministry has put up monitoring mechanism systems to monitor issues to do with faults as well as safety, knowing fully that this is a rain season and we should expect lightning, especially at the end of rain season. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, a few minutes ago, I had indicated that there's a lot of maintenance works that is being carried out, and the question from the MP is basically confirming what I stated, that we are monitoring, all the defects on the lines. I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Serenje.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, Serenje and the Mukushi farm blocks, these are upcoming farm blocks where demand for electricity is quite high. And the low voltages, which have been there for some time, actually are part of the causes for those blackouts, or in short, maybe the faults. So the question now is, when is ZESCO upgrading the lines from 66 probably to 172? Because those low voltages have been there for some time. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member is a former ZESCO employee, and I'm sure he understands how projects are planned. I submit.
That is the call on the Honorable Member for Serenje to interact with the Honorable Minister to seek more clarification on that matter. The Honorable Member from Kushi North.
Thank you very much. I expected the Minister to answer that question from Honorable Member for Serenje, because it's very important, especially this time when our commercial farmers are irrigating the crops. We are experiencing that because of low voltage. We expected the Minister to respond indeed to this question, which is very important. However, my question therefore would be, you have stated that you are doing another line that will complement the supply to Mukushi North constituency. My question is, who is doing this line? Is it ZESCO or is it being done by a private contractor? And if it is a private contractor, could you mind to share the name of the contractor that is doing these works? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, I don't have information as to who is actually doing this project, but the most important thing is that this project is, ongoing. It is works in progress, and it will be finished this year. So that is the most important thing. It doesn't matter whether it is Peter Kapala Construction who is doing the construction. As long as this company, if it is a private company, it is certified by ZESCO to carry out the works. I submit.
There is a late indication I was going to move, but the Honorable Member for Kapoche, what's the question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, there's an issue. The issue of power outages is normal in Zambia almost everywhere. Even the people of Kapoche are experiencing the same. You talked about the backup plan of buying a genset by Minister of Health. How soon do you think this can be done so that the mortuary and the people at the theater are not compromised? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, I don't think I'm privy to the procurement processes at the Ministry of Health, so I would encourage the Honourable Member to contact me so that we can get the actual date when this genset will be procured.
Thank you very much for that. We can make progress. Question for oral answer, understanding order 74, the Honourable Member for Mangango.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for according the good people of Mangango to ask question number 145.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member of Parliament from Mangango asked the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development whether government has any plans to rehabilitate the bridge across Luena River on the Katunda-Lukulu Road connecting Kazenke and Kofasonyi Basic in Mangango Parliamentary Constituency. If so, when the plans will be implemented, and last, Madam Speaker, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, in our effort to answer the question, government does have plans to rehabilitate the bridge across Luena River on the Katunda-Lukulu Road, connecting Kazenke to Kufasonyi. Yes. Basic School in Mangango Parliamentary Constituency. And in B, Madam Speaker, the plans will be implemented once the detailed designs for the plans have been prepared.
by the RDA. And last but not least, as indicated in A, government does have plans. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. Honorable Member for Mangango, you are satisfied? Or do you have any question?
I'm satisfied, Madam Speaker.
Oh, so since the Honorable Member for Mangango.
The only question, Madam Speaker, is that when will the government finish their works or the evaluations for them to start the construction? Thank you.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much, and I thank Honourable Member of Parliament for Mangango for that follow-up question. Madam Speaker, I must bring to the attention of the House that this particular bridge was not part, or rather is not part of the 2024 road sector annual work plan. However, Madam Speaker, owing to the fact that the span is only about 40 meters in length, we are looking at how best we could engage our defense forces under the emergency budget to be able to deal with that particular bridge. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. Since it's touching on the Katunda Lukulu Road, I believe the Honorable Member for Mitete would want to ask a question. Honorable Member for Mitete.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I treasure this opportunity. Minister, are you aware that there is already an existing embankment that was well done, probably in the Kaunda era or Welensik colonial days, that it's just a matter of taking buried bridges on this site to connect Kazenke in Lukulu West and Kafosonyi in Mangango, connecting Luena, Limulunga to Mongo. Are you aware that this could be one of the shortest routes as well? Thank you for Katunda, Lukulu, Watopa, Mumbeji, 2024. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for that follow-up question for Honourable Member of Parliament for Mitete. Is government aware of the embankment? Yes, we are aware of the embankment. If my memory serves me right, Madam Speaker, that stretch of the embankment is about 1 kilometer, and it indeed will be the shortest route from Lukulu to the Mongo Road, Madam Speaker. And I also just want to make mention, Madam Speaker, that the New Dawn government, having commissioned the Hook Bridge, the temporal bridge that we have, the belly bridge that we have from the Hook Bridge, has been earmarked to go to the same particular bridge that we want to install to connect Katunda, Lukulu. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. That closes that question. And just by way of guidance, going back to question number 144, and in particular, the question that was asked by the Honorable Member for Serenji. Honorable Minister for Energy, when a member asks a question, please attempt to answer. Do not refer them to the fact that they were a former employee of ZESCO. Because the information is not only for the member asking, but it's for the nation at large. So please, Honorable Minister, as you answer, please bear that in mind. And since the government chief whip is here, there was a question relating to why the government leader of opposition and the PF whip are not in the house. Since the house is the government chief whip who gives permission, maybe you can just clarify where are the honorable members.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The PF whip is in Solwezi attending to his son's graduation. I don't know the whereabouts of the leader of opposition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As the time is 10:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for health break.
Minutes. And before we go on a break as well, let's just quickly look at what has been considered on the floor of the House, and business resumed at 09 hours in
So when business resumed at 09 hours, Madam Speaker did make one announcement and 3 rulings.
So the details of those 3 rulings that Madam Speaker made earlier on, and the ministerial statement that was rendered on the floor of the House, and the announcement will be given to at adjournment time. And we should also just make mention that the ministerial statement that was rendered on the floor of the House by the Minister of Health, Honorable Sylvia Masebo MP, was on the non-compliance of erythromycin produced by ZAMSA, and we'll be able to share with you the details of that ministerial statement. After that, the House did proceed to consider 2 questions for oral answer, and the first question came from Mr. Sichiwe Mkushi, Member of Parliament, and that was question 144, and it was directed to the Minister of Energy. The member wanted to find out whether the government is aware that for the past 2 weeks, Mkushi North Parliamentary constituency has been experiencing power outages, which has affected the functioning of the operation theatre mortuary at Mansansa Health Center, and will be part of the question. The member wanted to find out what urgent measures has been taken to resolve the problem. Joe.
Yes, 100%. And the House also did consider question for oral answer under Standing Order 74. So this is question 145, which came from Mr. Mwene, who is a Mangango constituency Member of Parliament. He did direct his question to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. He wanted to find out in 3 parts. In A, whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate the bridge across Luena River on the Katunda Lukuru Road connecting Kanzeke to Kafalsoni Base School in Mangango Parliamentary constituency, and in B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and C, if there are no such plans, why.
So keep watching Parliament Television. We'll be back and share with you the details of the ministerial statement and the 3 rulings that Madam Speaker made, and indeed not forgetting the announcement that she made earlier. Thank you so much. We'll be with you on the other side.
Basically, I'm a villager from Monze, the eastern side of Monze district. This is my 2nd term as a Member of Parliament, serving the good people of Mambwe constituency. I'm a married man, obviously with 1 wife, and I have 4 children. In terms of my education, it's important. The primary school I attended at Gasaga primary school in Monze, in my constituency. And after that, I've gone to different institutions, the last one being I did an MBA. And my specialty basically has been in business management. I specialize in that. But I must mention also that I've learned quite a lot, being a villager, as I said. Whereby I remember I've gone to school. I spent the whole of my primary school, in fact, without putting on shoes until I was in grade 7. And not because my father could not afford. We had a lot of animals. But I think basically culturally those were things which we were not paying attention to. So I've been in this parliament. This is now my 6th year as a member of parliament. And I think history has it to that. So far, I think so good in terms of what I've done for the people of Mambwe constituency. So Mambwe constituency is the purely rural constituency. Eastern side of Monze district, In fact, let me say just from the northwestern all the way to the eastern side of Monze district. My neighbors are Bwenga constituency, Monze Central, Magoye, and Gwembe. So predominantly rural constituency, my people are mainly in agriculture. We do rear animals and farming. We play a key role in feeding Monze district and other parts of the country. In terms of the population, we should be standing around, I think, 40,000 now. As you are aware, we are going to do another census in this year, in fact, in August. So that I think will give us the good numbers. I must mention that also in terms of the geography, my constituency is peculiar in that I have 5 wards. Out of the 5 wards, 2 wards are in the valley because, as I indicated, I share the boundary with Gwembe. Gwembe predominantly is a valley, and then the other 3 districts, wards are also in a plateau setup. So, because of that kind of differentiation, even in terms of the terrain, what you need to do here and there differs quite a lot. So that is the coverage. You may be interested that immediately you leave Mambwe River, there about after the Mambwe Bridge, all that is in my constituency. So the Great North Road coming to Lusaka from Monze, I cover part of the western side of the road, and very near, very close to Monze district, Monze town per se. We are talking about just 3 kilometers from Monze town. Then my constituency begins. But surprisingly so, you may be aware that Momba constituency is one of the smallest constituencies in Monze, in fact in southern province. It's one of the smallest, but terrain-wise is challenging to access some places. For Momba constituency, I want to look at in terms of the priorities. What are our key challenges as a constituency? First and foremost, we are looking at the availability of water, both for human beings, that is clean and safe water to drink for people, and both for the animals. And that, for me, has always been my priority. I've said it, and I want by the time maybe I hammer 2026, God willing, I should have a situation whereby almost each and every village, we have villages, should have a bore. Currently, that is not the case. We still have a lot of our mothers walking long distances in search of water. The same goes with our animals. If you come to Momba constituency, you'll find that we don't have any river, which we call them perennial rivers, which has water throughout. We don't have that. So we rely heavily on dams, and these dams are silted now. So that is our priority number one, the availability of water for our people. And also the road network is nothing to talk about. The roads are quite very, very bad. The schools also. We have quite a number of good schools, but I want also to ensure that some of the community schools we have are upgraded to government school. We don't have desks. Most of the classrooms are no desks. So I can go on and on, but these are the key challenges which is facing us. In developmental-wise, we are still a bit of backward, and now with the increment in terms of the CDF, in fact, makes me to relax a bit in terms of I will have the resources. The challenge now which I have is to work closely with the council to ensure that development is taken closer to the people. So for the members of constituency, my word always has been that we need to work as a team. If we work as silos, basically we will not achieve anything. And I'm their representative, but this is their job. Together with me, I have to match with their expectations. So my request to them, and I want to thank them. In fact, in the most first place, let me thank them that I've worked in an environment that which is very, very good and conducive with my my people, those I do represent. And I'm hoping that this will continue even in this second term of mine, to ensure that we see what we can achieve as a team. If I take a borehole there, I don't want to say I've taken a borehole there. Obviously, that could be my initiative through them. But let it be them saying this is the development we have been crying for. We have worked and we have achieved together. So I'm asking for their usual support, as always, so that we work as a team to develop the consequence. My doors are open, just like as their doors are open. I've never gone to a place and then they shut me around. So that openness which we have continued to enhance, I think should be encouraged and should going forward. Basically, I just want to request them that we work as a team.
I'm Kapelwa Mbagweta, Member of Parliament for Nkeyema. I went to school for my primary school in Sefula. Then I went to the Sheke Secondary School. Then to the University of Zambia. After completing at the University of Zambia, that time we had the one holding company called Zimco. I started working at Zesco, where I spent most of my time, I think around 10 years. Then I was transferred to Zambia State Insurance. From Zambia State Insurance, I was transferred to Zimco head office, where I stayed until Zimco went into voluntary liquidation as a result of a political decision by the government then. From that time, I went into the private sector. I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers for a number of years. Then I went to NAPSA, where I was the first director of human resources in the Transform the National Provident Fund. After that, I retired, became a full-time consultant, and also on the sidelines a politician. This is my second term. I was first elected in 2016-2021. I'm married with 5 children. The people in Nkeyema are farmers. As a matter of fact, Nkeyema is the breadbasket of Western Province, second only or probably at par with Kaoma. And so we do a lot of farming there. And in the future, after we've done all the basics, we will be applying some of the CDF to productive activities. Productive activities in the sense that you buy tractors and that sort of thing. So the enhanced CDF is the icing on the cake, because in Nkeyema we have 4 ways of bringing development to the people. Firstly, through central government. Secondly, through CDF now. Thirdly, through corporates and the international non-governmental organizations. Of course, the enhanced CDF means that all of a sudden we've been able to do so many things which we never imagined. So, for example, from the infrastructure side, last year we had the 16 projects, and we have 8 wards, which means 2 projects per ward. And if we add up projects also by the partners, would be in a year in the region of 20, 30 projects at a go. Obviously, the enhanced CDF has enabled us to do a lot of things, including the skills development, which would not have imagined possible. In the rural areas,
thank you so much for still staying with us on Parliament Television. Business is still on the 20 minutes healthy break, and at the time business was interrupted. The House was considering the question. That's a question for oral answer, understanding order 74. And this question came from Mr. Mwene Mangango, Member of Parliament. Wanted to find out from the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, and in this case it was the Minister of Tourism, Honorable Rodney Sikumba, who's acting as Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, who responded to this question. The member wanted to find out whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate the bridge across Luena River on the Katunda Lukuru Road connecting Kazenke to Kamfuansonyi Basic School in Mangango Parliamentary constituency. And at the time, business was suspended for that healthy break. It was Mitete, Member of Parliament, Mr. Mishek Mutelo, was just finished asking a follow-up question to the Minister. Let's also shift our attention and look at what else has been considered on the floor of the House when business resumed at 09 hours this morning.
Yes, so when business resumed at 09 hours this morning, Madam Speaker did make an announcement on the inaugural Research Awareness Week, which was launched in September 2022. And thereafter, Madam Speaker did render 3 rulings. And the first ruling, which Madam Speaker did render, was on a point of order raised on Friday, 60th October 2023 by Mr. B.M. Muduvile, the then leader of the opposition, against Honorable P.C.C. Kavuswe MP, Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, for insinuating that members of Parliament who tabled a report on Sensele mine were actually laying falsehoods on the floor of the House.
And the other ruling that Madam Speaker made earlier in the day was on the point of order raised on Wednesday, 11th October 2023 by Mr. R.K.H. Totela, Member of Parliament for Pambashe constituency, against Honorable M.E. Mposha, MP, Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, for allegedly misleading the House by giving a contradictory statement to the budget speech on outstanding 2023 constituency development funds. So we'll be able to share with you the details of that ruling. Let's quickly, before we cross over to the floor of the House, and share with our viewers what is expected to be considered on the floor of the House. We still have 3 heads yet to be considered. Head 29, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Head 18, that's Judiciary. Head 31, Ministry of Justice.
And also, person still coming, the House is expected to consider the Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2023 at a second reading stage.
So that's the business that is yet to be considered on the floor of the House. For now, we cross back to the floor of the House for the resumption of business. Remember, at the time business was suspended, the House was considering question 45, which was posed by Mr. Mwene Mangango, Member of Parliament, directed to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. And in this case, it was the acting Minister of Tourism was responding.
Madam Speaker.
So bills are ringing, calling on members of Parliament to be in the House. I remember that according to the standard practice, there must be 1/3 of members of Parliament in the House for any business to be transacted. So stay glued right here on Parliament Television as we continue bringing Parliament closer to you.
So like we mentioned earlier on, at the time business was suspended, the House was considering question 145, which was asked by Mr. Mwene Mangango, Member of Parliament, and this question was directed to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. and it was the acting minister, that's Honorable Rodney Sikumba, who is tourism minister, was responding to this question. And the member wanted to find out whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate the bridge across Luena River on the Katunda Lukuru Road connecting Kazenke to Kafwansoni Basic School in Mangango Parliamentary constituency. And Joe, there was a ministerial statement that was considered on the floor of the House, and this ministerial statement was rendered by the Minister of Health on the non-compliance of azithromycin. And we did see quite a number of members of Parliament posing questions, seeking clarity from the Minister.
And we'll be able to give our viewers details of that ministerial statement later on. So, still coming, the House.
Order, honorable members, can we settle down? I know we had eaten 2 minutes of your break time. So, going by the watch, we have compensated for that 2 minutes. We can make progress. When business was suspended, the House had just finished considering question number 145 on the order paper, asked by the honorable member for Mangango. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2023, second reading.
Order, honorable members. You want to spend the day outside, eh? Honorable member for Luena. We only chase after misbehaving repeatedly. That was a warning, so we can live with it. The Honorable Minister of Commerce, the Honorable Acting Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill be read a second time.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Any debate? The Honorable Acting Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity given to present my statement on the Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill number 10 of 2023. As you are aware, the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry is responsible for safeguarding and promoting competition while protecting consumer against unfair trading through the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. The Competition and Consumer Protection Act number 24 of 2010 was enacted in 2010, repealing the Competition and Fair Trading Act, Chapter 417 of the laws of Zambia, enacted in 1994. This is in order to, among other things, establish the Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal, provide for administrative powers of the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, and augment consumer protection provisions in the Act for enhanced consumer welfare, with the ultimate goal of attaining fair trade and competition in all sectors of the Zambian economy. Madam Speaker, during the implementation of the Act, several lacunas and challenges have been identified that have negatively impacted the effective attainment of the fair trade and competition in all sectors of the Zambian economy. It is worth noting that the Act does not provide for adequate enforcement. This, therefore, necessitated the proposal to amend the 2010 Act, considering how essential and critical fair trading and competition are to the business community in Zambia. The proposed amendment of the Act will address the lacunas in the law and to include provisions that will enhance enforcement of the law. Madam Speaker, you may wish to note that the Competition and Consumer Protection Act number 24 of 2010 is being amended in order to provide for the domestication of the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, popularly known as COMESA, competition regulations, as well as to harmonize concurrent jurisdiction on competition matters with other sector regulators, clarity of the functions of the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Board, and to amend some sections of the Act so as to enhance the effectiveness of its implementation. The revision is necessary as it will help create an enabling environment for fair competition, whilst strengthening the mechanisms of consumer protection. Madam Speaker, the object of the bill is to amend the Competition and Consumer Protection Act so as to the following. A, revise the functions of the board. B, enhance the protection of consumers against unfair trading practices. C, enhance the promotion of competition. D, provide the procedure for reallocation of core assets outside the Republic. E, align the appellant process with the Constitution of Zambia, Cap 1. And F, domesticate the the Commercial Competition Regulation 2004. And last but not least, to provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. The amendment is aimed at ensuring the Commission effectively implements its functions to ensure that the Zambian economy is engrafted in fair markets and effective consumer protection. Once enacted, the Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill 2023 will be implemented together with the Principal Act by the Ministry through the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission and the Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal. Madam Speaker, competition and consumer protection are important instruments for achieving economic growth and inclusive and sustainable development. Competition helps to make sure businesses and companies compete fairly with each other. This encourages enterprise efficiency, creates a wider choice for consumers, and helps reduce the price and improve on quality. The intention of the Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill is to enhance the enforcement of the competition and consumer protection laws in the country, as well as to address the challenges and gaps that have been experienced in the implementation of the law by the Commission. Madam Speaker, the Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill provides for the harmonization of concurrent jurisdiction on competition matters with other sector regulators, for example, including the provision on the Memoranda of Understanding, this is MOUs, with other regulators on consumer matters. It also improves certain provisions in line with the international best practices, such as the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, the peer review mechanism, noting that these do not substantially alter the policy. Madam Speaker, it is expected that once implemented, the bill will ensure that the Commission effectively carries out its functions as a body set up to ensure effective fair trading in the market, with a resultant well-protected consumer whose rights and obligations are well-defined and legally backed. Further, it is expected that the implementation of the bill will enhance certainty in the way the Commission operates, whilst also categorically spelling out the scope and applicability of the legal provisions. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, the amendment of the Competition and Consumer Protection Act number 24 of 2010 is in line with government's aspirations of promoting and implementing pro-competition rules in key sectors, deterring uncompetitive business practices, and minimizing distortive interventions in the market. The bill will provide for certainty in the way the Commission operates, and it will categorically spell out the scope and the applicability of the provisions of the Act. The overall goal is to create an enabling environment for fair competition while strengthening mechanisms on consumer protection. Madam Speaker, I would like to urge the honourable members of this august House to fully support this bill. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Nchelenge, being member of the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters. The Honorable Member for Nchelenge.
Madam Speaker, I beg to present a report of the Committee on National Economy, Trade and Labor Matters on the consideration of the Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill number 10 of 2023, laid on the table on the House on Wednesday, the 15th of November 2023. Madam Speaker, in line with the terms of reference as contained in the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2021, the committee considered the Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill number 10 of 2023. The committee has the honor and privilege to present its report on the bill. Madam Speaker, I wish to state from the outset that the committee supports the bill, as it will play a pivotal role towards ensuring fair and competitive market practices, while safeguarding the rights and interests of consumers across the nation. The Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill aims at fostering a competitive environment that will encourage business to excel while ensuring protection of consumer rights. Madam Speaker, I'm sure that members of this august House have perused through the report, and I will therefore only highlight a few salient issues that emanated during the committee's deliberations. The first issue relates to a clause 4, which grants the Commission an additional function of reviewing applications for the relocation of core assets of an enterprise from Zambia. The committee expresses concerns that such an action may result in the Commission being perceived as interfering in private businesses. The committee is of the view that the interference has the potential to deter investment in inflows into Zambia, as businesses may be reluctant to share certain information with the Commission. In view of the foregoing, the committee recommends that the Commission should establish transparent guidelines relating to the movement of core assets. These guidelines should define precisely what constitutes core assets, detail the procedures for the relocation, and outline the specific circumstances under which the Commission intervention is justified. Madam Speaker, the proposed measure is not meant to inhibit business operations, but rather to provide a clear framework that ensures transparency and fairness by defining the parameters and establishing a structured process. The committee is of the view that the Commission can protect the interests of both the enterprises and the nation, while creating a conducive environment for investment in Zambia. Madam Speaker, the second issue is on Clause 19, which provides for a refund option available to consumers who suffer from false or misleading representations. In order to enlighten consumers on this provision, the committee strongly urges the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to embark on a vigorous awareness campaign using multiple media platforms to educate consumers about their rights. Further, the Commission should develop information, brochures, leaflets, and pamphlets that will comprehensively outline consumer rights, while emphasizing the rights of consumers to request for refunds. It is crucial that these information materials are not only created, but also widely disseminated, particularly targeting rural areas. This will ensure that every individual, regardless of their location, is well informed about their right to seek remedy when they encounter misleading misrepresentations. Another matter which the committee wishes to highlight is on clause 24, which proposes an amendment to section 52 of the Principal Act. This provision aims at prohibiting the selling, supplying, importing, or displaying of expired products. The committee observes that the prevalence of expired products in rural areas is a source of great concern. It has been noticed that many consumers in rural areas often overlook checking the expiry dates when purchasing goods, leading to these areas becoming a frequent dumping ground for expired products. In this regard, the committee strongly recommends that the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission should implement proactive measures in order to curb the vice. Mechanisms for reporting businesses selling expired products should also be put in place. A dedicated reporting platform, accessible nationwide, should also be put in place to allow people from all parts of the country to report such incidents. In addition, the Commission should have a presence at district level. This will enable frequent inspections focused on the quality of products being accessed by consumers in rural areas. By being present at district level, the Commission can direct, oversee the market and take necessary action to prevent the distribution of expired goods. This proactive step is crucial in safeguarding the well-being of consumers, especially in rural areas where access to information and oversight may be limited. Therefore, implementing these measures will protect consumers from potential health hazards and promote a marketplace that prioritizes the well-being of every Zambian citizen. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, allow me to render my sincere gratitude to you and the clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and support rendered to the committee throughout its deliberations. Gratitude also goes to all the stakeholders who tendered both written and oral submissions before the committee. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? I see none. The Honorable Acting Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry winding up debate.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's very encouraging that the House has overwhelmingly supported the report from the committee, and I would like to thank the committee themselves, together with the chair and the committee rather, for having put together this particular document which has been brought to this House for deliberations. Madam Speaker, with that said, I submit.
I put up the question. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read a second time.
The Competition and Consumer Protection Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2023.
Committee stage to be taken when?
Friday, 24th November 2023, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Committee stage to be taken on Friday, 22nd November 2023. Next order.
Estimates of revenue and expenditure, including capital and constitutional and statutory expenditure, Committee of Supply, resumption of committee work.
The House will now resolve into committee.
when business was interrupted on Thursday, 16th November 2023, the Committee of Supply on the Estimates of Revenue and Expenditure for the year 1st January 2024 to 31st December 2024, presented to the National Assembly in September 2023, was considering Head 29, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, and the Honorable Minister was presenting the policy statement. May the Honorable Minister continue.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much once again for the opportunity to continue delivering the budget defense for the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. As I was saying yesterday, Mr. Chairman, the budgetary allocations for the ministry are in line with the foregoing precepts. The total budget allocation for the ministry in 2023 is 7,745,212,536, compared to the 6,449,060,989 in 2023. This represents an increase, Mr. Chairman, of 20%, primarily attributed to the increment of the grants, with the Constituency Development Fund increasing to 4 billion kwacha, 779,160,147 kwachas, representing an increase of 8.2% from the 2023 allocation. Mr. Chairman, the Local Government Equalization Fund has been allocated 1,449,701,480 kwacha, representing an increase of 8.2% from the 2023 allocation, and the grants in lieu of rates has been allocated 42,514,718 kwacha, representing an increment of 88.8%. Mr. Chairman, the government has also increased the allocation of the Local Authority Superannuation Fund from 300 million to now 400 million, an increase representing 33.3%. The increased allocation of LASIF will facilitate the payments of outstanding pensions and benefits and annuities. Mr. Chairman, the Ministry's 2024 budget provisions by program are broken down as follows. Human Settlement and Planning, 10 million has been allocated towards facilitating sustainable human settlements through the local authorities, compared to the 9.7 million in the last year. The allocation aligns with the government's emphasis of improved land use, management and planning. The program will also facilitate upgrading of squatter settlements and integrated development planning in the districts in line with the Sustainable Development Goal number 11. Another key output is the development of the National Spatial Framework, Mr. Chairman, which will provide special element to the development planning, local governance. Mr. Chairman, through the ministry, the government has also continued to promote the decentralization agenda for an enhanced local participation and access to services by our people. The ministry will therefore continue to strengthen its administrative role by providing policy guidance to local authorities or councils, enhancing their capacities for service delivery. In regard of this, 6.7 billion kwacha has been allocated to the local governance program in the 2024 budget, in comparison to the 6.1 billion kwacha that was allocated this year. This amount includes grants to local authorities, the Local Government Equalization Fund, grants in lieu of notice, in lieu of rates, and the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Mr. Chairman, municipal infrastructure and support delivery. In line with the government's agenda for local transformation, the ministry targets to enhance the provision of municipal infrastructure and social services across the country, and as such, 116 million kwacha has been allocated to municipal infrastructure and support delivery program in comparison to the 71 million kwacha this year. Under this program, Mr. Chairman, the ministry will endeavor to provide modern infrastructure for markets and bus stations, as well as enhance their management through management boards. Customary governance. Mr. Chairman, the ministry recognizes the key role that our traditional leaders play in the local governance decentralization and democracy. To this end, 142 million has been allocated for customary governance. The allocation will facilitate the completion and construction of the chief's palaces in a phased manner while ensuring enhanced welfare of our traditional leaders. Rural development. Mr. Chairman, the ministry allocated 76.4 million kwacha to the rural development program in comparison to the 70.2 million kwacha last year. The increased allocation will facilitate for the provision of rural infrastructure, enhanced rural development. Key activities include construction, rehabilitating of rural crossing points, rural sanitation facilities, and also community roads. Measures for improved performance. Mr. Chairman, the ministry is cognizant of the need for efficient and effective policy legislative framework for enhanced service delivery. The ministry will therefore develop policies to promote rural development and sustainable human settlements. The ministry will also facilitate the review of various legislation in order to strengthen the implementation of the mandate, including the Constituency Development Fund, Local Government Act, Rating Act, Urban and Regional Planning Act. The ministry will continue to build the capacity at all levels to facilitate optimal performance, enhanced oversight to ensure efficient program implementation. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, the budget is set to actualize my ministry's vision for sustainable local governance and efficient delivery system, and we commit to deliver on this vision. Mr. Chairman, before I sit and request a favorable consideration of the budget proposal, I would like to inform members of this House that the President extends an invitation for every member to attend this afternoon at the Lusaka Showgrounds as he launches the delivery of the Constituency Development Fund funded Zambia police motor vehicles, which we are giving to all the 156 constituencies, and you are most welcome. Thank you very much. I seek your support.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Any further debate? Mr. Salubalo.
Honorable Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity given to say one or two words on this head. Indeed, today is a great day, a day that we are debating the means of local government and rural development.
I think before you proceed, I should announce that this ministry, from the indications, is quite topical, so I would urge you just to utilize 3.5 minutes so that as many as possible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Should be able to debate.
It's a great day, a day when all honorable members of parliament, even those who say they haven't seen anything under the new Dawn administration, today, each member of parliament.
There is a point of order by the Honorable Minister of Information.
Mr. Chairperson, thank you for the opportunity to raise this point of order. Anchoring on an issue which has been vexing myself for quite some time now. Mr. Chairperson, sometime in 2020 thereabout to 2021.
State what has been breached
I will state,
and the
Mr.
standing
Speaker.
orders that have been breached.
I will state, Mr. Speaker. Sometime in 2020 thereabout, this House amended the standing orders of this House to debating from 20 minutes a member to now this 7 minutes or 8 minutes, which clearly you can see that all the members of this House are struggling to deliver their messages. They are literally running with their messages. This House, as we speak, Mr. Chairperson, out there, the public are saying, what has happened to Parliament? Even ministers, as you have seen, a minister comes with a ministerial statement or a policy statement. Halfway, the 8 minutes are gone. Yet, the standing orders were amended on the premise that they will be temporary. They were called COVID standing orders. This has made debate in this House extremely difficult and making all your members in this House look inept and incapable of debating national issues. Is the whole House in order to continue to maintain COVID regulations of 8 minutes debate, which is constraining your members, especially the opposition, who have so many issues to raise, so that we can respond to them and provide leadership to the nation? Is the whole House therefore in order to continue to dilly-dally about restoring the original standing orders, since on the date the standing orders were changed, the basis was these are temporal COVID measures? Mr. Chairman, I seek your very serious ruling on this matter. I thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Apparently, Honorable Minister, you are the one out of order. Because our standing orders are quite clear that you can't raise a point of order on the House. So that is an issue that we should have engaged administratively, not you rising on a point of order. So the Honorable Minister of Information is out of order. Let's proceed, Honorable Member.
Thank you so much, Chair. I was saying, Chair, today is a special day to all honorable members of Parliament. And it's a day that we are debating the means of local government. What a coincidence indeed. Today we are receiving each MP a Land Cruiser, brand new, for our men and women in uniform, the police service. There are a lot of challenges regarding to transport that has been sorted out. Kudos to His Excellency the President and the Minister of Local Government and Housing. Chair, indeed, the Minister of Local Government is a cornerstone to our decentralization achievement. So far, the Ministry has done a lot. We are proud members of Parliament because of the disbursement of CDF through the same ministry. Whether someone closes his eyes, there is something that is happening in their respective constituencies. The source of concern, Honorable Minister, that I have is particularly on the equalization fund that you highlighted. the 20% component that is earmarked for capital project, I feel a lot of honorable members can't trace where that money is being utilized. So it is important, Honorable Minister, as you keep on doing very well, that you also consider trying to trace where this 20% goes under capital project. Because that has been a challenge. And when you look at even these other local authorities, take for instance like Lusaka, even Sinazongo itself, you find there are a lot of revenue stream where the government can, so the local authorities can be raising their own money for their salaries. But it seems our local authorities have gone to sleep. Sorry to use that word. They can pay using the levies or the revenue they collect locally, but they are relying mainly on the equalization fund that you provide. I think in some local authorities, this has created laziness. Look at local authorities like Kishangombo. Those are the local authorities that might need equalization fund. Not areas like Lusaka, Sinazongwe, Chisamba. They have a lot of streams where they can get local money to pay their salaries. So let us not promote laziness where equalization fund is not required. Please, going forward, Honorable Minister, don't give such local authorities. Because this has created a lot of laziness. That should be taken very, very serious, Honorable Minister. That is a source of concern. Now, coming to Sinazongo, Honorable Minister, and rural roads, or feeder roads, I would urge your ministry, Honorable Minister, to consider just giving us, constructing bridges in the feeder roads. We are acquiring our own equipment where we can be doing the grading of roads. What we can't afford is the crossing points. We have a lot that are damaged, that needs resources from your ministry. Let me reserve some minutes for my other colleagues. I thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chanda.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairperson, for this opportunity to support this particular head 29. Mr. Chairperson, we believe that local government provides a very important opportunity for our citizens to interact with improved service delivery for the Zambian people. Speaking for those of us coming from rural areas like Anchivia, we do understand the impact that decentralization in this regard has brought to our people and the benefits thereof. Our people can interact and experience the real benefits of decentralization. I'll be failing in my duties, Mr. Chairperson, if I do not salute this particular ministry, that the last 2 years have seen a radical shift in the benefits that our people and the engagement in terms of service delivery that the people of Kanchivia are able to experience. But more can still be done. I would want to place on record and in thanking the ministry for the increased allocation towards the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. We have been prudent in our utilization of this particular fund. That today, the country would know about Kanchivia because of the Constituency Development Fund. And we believe that we'll continue and we'll keep it that way. Second, the Honorable Minister, would want to thank the government and the allocation that has gone towards the equalization funds. The people of Kanchivia, supported by the people of Nalolo, brought a motion to this August House to improve the conditions of service for our hardworking councillors. This has been responded to, and we believe that councillors countrywide, Mr. Chairperson, will for a long time and for a change experience a rise in what they'll get and what they'll be getting at the end of the month. So again, kudos, and we believe that this is a measure we must continue to improve upon as a people. In this house, a house of solutions. I represent, Mr. Chairperson, a constituency without police presence, without any police presence, zero police presence. Using the CDF opportunity, we are constructing police facility. And today we are happy, and again, we don't want to politic. We are happy that that vehicle is going to coincide with us officially launching that police post, and there will be police presence in Kanchibia district, which is also a constituency at the same time. With that said, Mr. Chairperson, allow me to say that the staff and how I wish we had an opportunity to discuss and to debate the Local Government Service Commission, but I'll link this to the Local Government Service Commission, that we are grateful that whenever we've raised flag on particular officers in the council, the Local Government Commission has responded positively. Today, we have a crop, maybe not 100%, but we have a crop at the council committed to delivery, that they can work, Mr. Chairperson, outside work hours in a terrain as difficult as ours would be. They'll be in the field up to midnight, past midnight, pushing and ensuring that projects do not stop. So I just want to place on record again that local government becomes important, especially for those of us in an area where this is the only opportunity where we can interact with government and improve service delivery. With that said, we would want to say that there's need for continued investment in human resource systems. There's need for more investment in financial systems. There's need for investment in technical expertise, especially in rural areas. We need quantity surveyors, even as we roll out these projects. Lastly, Mr. Chairperson, allow me to say that the need for information systems management becomes critical to ensure that we link and connect local authorities to the end users. It becomes easier for us when we can provide information speedily for our clients and our users, and as I use ours in the context of the council. Mr. Chairperson, there's need for us and for our councils to migrate from the manual system, which is not efficient in providing real-time information. Otherwise, the people of Kanchibia support this particular head, and we look forward to timely disbursement of the CDF and other resources. I thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. Mr. Banda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for giving the good people of Muchinga an opportunity to support, to add a word of support to the budget line for local government. Mr. Chairperson, let me state that as the people of Muchinga, we 100% support this budget. This is for some reasons. The minister has performed quite well in the last 3 years. And as I speak, a lot of people have benefited. And the money given to this ministry is showing signs that it is working for the people of Zambia. For this reason, Mr. Chairperson, I support the budget. We have bought a lot of earth-moving equipment, which we are using to grade our roads. We have built schools, classroom blocks. We are doing some health facilities. Our people are benefiting in terms of loans. Just today, as the previous debater said, the police will be receiving a share through this ministry. We are doing some projects, grants are being given. Parents now are no longer struggling to pay for their pupils going to school because government through this ministry is paying. And I think this is worth supporting this budget. However, Mr. Chairperson, I want to take advantage of this floor and urge government to re-advertise the roads that were contracted, but the contracts were terminated In particular, those roads are in Muchinga constituency. These are Musa Mine to Luswasi Power Station, Kashitu to Kundarumasha via Nambo, Teta to Kaseva Turnoff. Mr. Chairperson, these are very critical roads that when it is raining, people are usually cut off from the central business town of Serenje. And this translates to people now not accessing certain, activities, certain social needs. They can't go to the hospitals, they can't go do shopping in Serenje, and for civil servants it becomes a very big problem. So I want to urge government, as I support this head, that it's time to make rural development meaningful, because without good feeder roads, rural development becomes a song. We have the earth-moving machinery, but we cannot manage to facelift the roads. We can only grade. And for that reason, it needs the involvement of the Ministry of Local Government to do those roads. Mr. Chairperson, allow me also to mention that the local government ministry should take keen interest in the way the local authorities are using the much talked about equalization funds. Some of these local authorities, apart from the equalization funds, have got a lot of revenue collection points. If you come to Serenje, when all the manganese mines are working, each truck, foreign truck pays 5,000 kwacha from the mine, and the local trucks pays 500 kwacha each. But this money has not been seen how it is working, because there is no infrastructure to talk about. That has come as a result of the money that is collected. And yet on the other side, equalization fund is given. As area members of parliament, we have tried to engage, and what we have been told is that there are some positions at Serenje local government offices. There are some positions where two people are getting paid sitting in one office for the same job. This is something that has to be looked at by the local government ministry if we are to achieve, as the government has indicated, its good intentions. Mr. Chairperson, let me be one of those that wants to donate a few minutes to the other colleagues to also debate this very important head. I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Information.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for the opportunity. And let me begin by thanking you, Mr. Chairperson, and the whole House for the orderly manner conduct of business in this House is going about. This is how it should be. An orderly House with decorum. That is where the name honorable emanates from. Is this kind of good behavior, not unruly, thuggery behavior. Let me proceed, Mr. Chairperson, by indicating that I support this vote, and in supporting the motion on the floor of the House, I wish to indicate that the government is walking the talk. Mr. Chairperson, year in, year out, councillors who are elected on the same ticket with mayors, council chairpersons, members of parliament, vice president, and the president have been crying foul that they also need something. After all, they are the ones who sit at the front end of delivery system of government. They live in the community while we converge here in parliament. They were asking to be paid something. Successive governments have failed. The new Dawn administration has come on hand and responded to the cry of the councillors. They have now been included in the budget. Every month they will get something. This is how it should be. This is the government that the people wanted. This is the government that councillors are supporting and should support. This is progress. Within 2 years of this administration, change is visible to all, including those who want to pretend about it. Mr. Chairperson, this new Dawn administration has delivered CDF monitoring vehicles to ensure that local authorities are efficient. One of the things that has been plaguing service delivery is a lack of monitoring. There has been a lot of pilferage and wastage of taxpayers' money, which the Public Accounts Committee has been grappling with. This administration is putting money where it matters. Mr. Chairperson, all members of Parliament, and I've been a member of Parliament, this is my 13th year. You get a vehicle from Parliament on loan and you pay through your salary. Yet that is a vehicle you use to go and do government work monitoring programs. President HH has realized that this is...
President Hakainde Hichilema, not President HH.
I withdraw, Mr. Chairperson. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, has come to the aid of members of Parliament that they cannot come to Parliament, get a vehicle on credit, which ends up to be a personal vehicle, and be using the same vehicle to monitor government projects. For all the 12 years that I've been a member of Parliament, we have been here. When we do have a session which is in camera, we have been bemoaning this state of affairs. His Excellency the President has guided that let us have CDF monitoring vehicles. All your members are very happy, including this PF. They are very happy about that move because now a CDF monitoring vehicle in place, it means their personal vehicle which they get on credit is going to be preserved. After all, we know, Mr. Chairperson, that going by history, it is about 70% attrition rate here at Parliament. Very few members return. This is progress and this is good for all of us, including those who are calling us cockroaches, are benefiting. And they are here. And they seem not to change their behavior. Mr. Chairperson, police vehicles this afternoon will be launched by the head of state at showgrounds.
Honorable Minister, there is a point of order. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, our standing orders are very clear. Content of speech. The relevance, if you go to our popular standing order, which compels us to give information which is not only factual but also verifiable. Is the Honorable Minister for Information in order to actually speak in nuendos, referring to these ones when we are all honorable members here? And the PF, it seems he really enjoys the word PF. Honorable Speaker, vehicles that were released by the Minister of Local Government are not vehicles for MPs. We want to be guided. Us here on the left, probably we might not be aware those vehicles are supposed to be used by us.
But we don't use those vehicles. Those vehicles are for monitoring, and who is responsible for monitoring? It's the councils. It's a fact. Drivers, it's the councils. If their schedule does not coincide, I'm giving the facts, Chairperson. If the council schedules...
You are debating, Honorable Member. You are debating.
No, let me just hit the nail on its head. We are very grateful for those vehicles because councils now are able to monitor. But is it in order to misinform the public that those vehicles are given to members of parliament for their use, and yet those vehicles belong to the councils and council officials? Is it in order? I was very excited when I saw those vehicles, thinking that they'll be given to us, Honorable Chairperson. Is it in order?
Okay, all right.
I seek your serious ruling.
I think your point of order is heard. The Honorable Minister of Local Government will take care of that, will respond as he winds up his debate. May the Honorable Member on the floor continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. And government policies in public domain, namely that the CDF monitoring vehicles will be under the charge of a member of parliament. The Minister of Local Government came to this house and gave a ministerial statement that the member of parliament is in charge to supervise the utilization of those vehicles. That is government policy and position. Madam, Mr. Chairperson, I was talking about police vehicles which the President will be launching this afternoon. All the 156 constituencies. This is progress to curb crime, because crime disturbs the growth of business in our country. What else are people looking for if it is not performance? But, Mr. Chairperson, very soon we are aware that the Ministry of Local Government will be procuring ambulances, 156 for all the constituencies. This is progress at the right price. These vehicles that we are talking about, police and ambulances, at the right price, not the price of $288,000 United States dollars under the previous administration of wasting public resources. Then they are talking of arebwerera pokwisa. You want to come back and continue plunder. Why? Madam, Mr. Chairperson, as we talk about the work of this particular ministry, I would like to urge the minister, my colleague here, that the curriculum through which we are sponsoring skills development should be revised because it is archaic. We continue to be able to import skilled labor in terms of certain skills such as sealing boards from Zimbabwe, because that is what is modern. Our own skills are still archaic and we need to address that. I also want to thank the minister that now I have seen in the budget that township roads across the country will be done and not restricted to ruling party constituencies. This is the leadership that we needed. Fairness, not discrimination. I thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. We'll be alternating, but more people will still be covered because this head is quite topical. The Honorable Mr. Zulu, should I say?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll try to be very short. Minister, the 2.2 million for Charimbana Training School, that is good. Because what has happened is that if we don't train our officers in our local governments or our local councils, we may fail to achieve what the UPND government is trying to achieve, to empower the locals and see to it that the law areas are developed. In addition to that, I'm happy that you have brought this idea of a tracker for our projects. what has happened in my at my district in Nyimba, we've tried to advise council to come up with a tracker, and they've resisted it. And thank God that it's coming now from you, now that they're going to obey it. Because we're having failures, we've advised you cannot operate without a tracker. And they have resisted it, and it's good that it's coming from you. And I know since it's coming from you, they will listen to it, and I hope that will help us. Then I want, Minister, I don't want you to fall again, pray to other ministers who have forgotten to develop or assist the southern part of Eastern Province. Practically where I come from Nyimba, which is 20% of the landmass of Eastern Province, the crossing points. We submitted over 7 crossing points. Crossing points are only been given to the Upper Eastern Province constituencies. I'm not going to mention them, but always development goes to the Upper Eastern Province, which is not good for the people of Nyimba. And we are saying this has to change because we can't just lag behind every time. Minister, talking about the utilization of constituency development vehicles, monitoring vehicles, I'll be failing my duties to tell you that none of, maybe 80% of people who are considered to be on the left side of the speaker are given chance to use those vehicles. Even when it matters most that the vehicle should be used, it's either the so-called DPOs, they'll come up with excuses, and that vehicle won't be used. And that is a fact. And that is happening. Even as of tomorrow, I was supposed to use the vehicle to do 3 meetings where no council officers have gone there to sensitize people about CDF. I'm told the vehicle is due for service. It can't work. And these are the things happening every day, and we've got no control. None of these people you see have got controls on those vehicles. Maybe, yes, I understand our colleagues on the right-hand side, they have control. Not even reimburse on your fuel when you use your own vehicle to go and monitor with council officers in your vehicle. So this has to come to an end. And as minister, I don't want you to say that people are failing to deliver. It's because the officers we have, they are also failing us to see to it that we progress in what we are doing. If I would be here pretending that CDF hasn't made a difference in my constituency, then I'm a liar. The truth of the matter is that things are moving where it comes to do with CDF. Areas where we had no clinics, we are building clinics today. Areas where we had no schools, we are building up schools today. But the biggest problem we have is the level also of our establishment. Our establishment up there's a lot of administrators, and the actual people should do the actual work. These are the engineers. The technicians are not there in our councils. And this we need to make sure that we work on it. Otherwise, we are going to fail to achieve what we can achieve. And in addition to that, even those who are in the councils today, Honorable Sylvia Masebo, you agree with me that when he was a minister of local government, at one point he even wanted to dissolve the council where I belonged, because people failed to do the job. Little did he know that it was, people failed to do the job. Little did he know that Ndora City Council was failing to perform because of the officers we had. Then council had powers to employ our workers. And those workers had respect for the councils. Minister, local government, today your council workers have got no respect for councillors. And this, it's hard for the councillors to supervise or advise the council workers. So my plea is that find them a solution to this, where you're going to tell the council workers that councillors, they still have they are the board of directors, and the respect should be given to them. At that point, things will start moving in the councils. Councils, council workers, they respect no one who comes from opposition. That I can tell you. And that you've seen that some of the constituencies, things are not moving. It's because of that respect is not there. So my plea, find a solution to that so that we can move and move quickly. In addition to that, the issue of township roads, I'm happy that you are going to do it, but the people of Nyimba are also requesting that they should be part of the first district which are going to benefit, because they are also part of Zambia.
And surely they cannot be forgotten always. They need to feel it, and that they will appreciate. Mr. Speaker, let me also reserve the 2 minutes for other people, or for other honorables to debate. Thank you so much.
Mr. Kampianga.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for the opportunity to contribute. Let me begin by commending the Honorable Minister of Local Government for the leadership that he has exhibited at the ministry where he is currently. Mr. Chairperson is a minister who does not look at which side you are coming from. He is there to resolve issues around the CDF and other things involving his ministry. Oh, I wish he was PF, but I'm sure even where he is, he fits well.
What do you
Honorable, Mr. Chairperson, Honorable Nkombo.
Hold on. What do you mean when you say you wish he was there?
It's on a lighter note, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Chairperson, I was saying, even when he's busy in his office, he will leave whatever he's doing to attend to the problem of your constituents. And I wish even junior officers can take a leave from the minister. Where I come from, we say, if your mutwe is okay, even the lower organs should be okay. Some of these things, some of these problems that we incur at the lower level, if they took a leave from the minister, wouldn't have been there. The administration of CDF has been made easier because of the leadership by the minister. Honorable Minister, please continue. To put the record straight, no one was ever called anyone or the Honorable Minister of Information a cockroach. Here we've been called Bamwankole, and we have never sung about it because we understand it is a political language of that time. Now we are here for work. Mr. Chairperson, the increment of the local government equalization fund is a welcome move. But I want to appeal to the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development to look into it that the 20% allocated for community projects is put to its intended purpose in accordance with the Local Government Act. We have, in certain instances, where that money is also used for personal emoluments. This leaves the mayor and the council chairpersons with no projects from this fund. So, Honorable Minister, please ensure that that money is also put to the intended purpose. The issue of township roads, like I've seen, there's been an allocation to township roads. I'll give you an example of Mpika. Township roads in Mpika are in a dilapidated state. The equipment that we have bought can only be used to grade a little bit, but during the rain season, we got back to square one. Honorable Minister, please consider areas like Mpika in terms of township roads. Or I wish you could take a tour of the township roads. There is even a compound called Kamwanya where we have a trench which is, which is covering about 5 kilometers and is within the residential area. The issue of feeder roads is also a very big issue. We have the Kativunga Mpika Road. The contract was cancelled. We have the Kamwanya Chipundu Chovera Road. The contract was cancelled. We have the Mufubushi Kasenga Road. The contract was also cancelled. And these are very important roads because that's where most of our people have their farms. Honorable Minister, please, we know the fiscal space is not enough. But consider such areas, and like my colleagues have said, the feeder roads and township roads. Mr. Chairperson, the other issue is the issue of bus stations. We have that SI which compels local authorities to remit the money collected from bus stations and markets. Ever since that was introduced, we have not seen much in terms of renovations of market arising from that savings of the money. It should be corrected, Honorable Minister. We need to start seeing fruits of that good law which has been put in place. Let me also leave a few minutes for my colleagues to debate. But I want, Honorable Minister, to appeal to you to continue engaging with your colleagues who accuse us of not wanting to implement CDF, and they call it a frustration of government efforts. No NSense member of parliament would want to frustrate government efforts, because by so doing is also drowning. Why would one want not to implement CDF? Every one of us are implementing CDF. Just because some do not post on social media, it does not mean they are not working. All of us are implementing CDF. Whenever the funds are available, projects are moving. But let me also appeal that the issue of sending contracts to the Office of the Attorney General for clearance is taking way too long. We have contracts that were submitted in August, and they are still there at the Attorney General's chambers. And we have now some ministers who are going on radio to accuse us of not wanting to implement CDF, even when they know the process is very clear. No one can jump the process just to impress a minister who goes on Radio 1. It's not possible. I submit, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. Mr. Singombe.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for giving me this opportunity to add a voice on head 29. Allow me to adopt Honorable Sialwaro's statement. Indeed, today is a great day where even us from Dundumwezi will be able to receive a police vehicle for the first time. For the first time since creation of this country. Mr. Chairperson, I want to place it on record that this Land Cruiser actually will assist the people of Dundumwezi. Mr. Chairperson, I want to place it on record that I ended up selling my other Land Cruiser because it was carrying a lot of dead bodies from my constituency. And my kids stopped using it, so it became irrelevant to my family, so I disposed it off. Now, Honorable Minister, I want to thank you because now I'm able to keep my own vehicle, because we have a vehicle that will be assisting us in the constituency. Yeah. Dundumwezi, Mr. Chairperson, has a history of people being gunned down by unknown people every month. And it is either my vehicle or the vehicle for the DC that are on a monthly basis carrying these bodies to town, which is about 70 kilometers away. So, Honorable Minister, this is quite a very great job. Dundumwezi, Honorable Minister, has increased the classroom block by 14. New, brand new classroom blocks. But I want to state that we need to find a way how our local authorities can be attending to some of the challenges with expediency. For example, I fail to understand why a 1x3 classroom block under 2022 is completed. But we can't commission it because the local authority cannot deliver the desks, which were also approved at the same time. So when we talk about ensuring that children should not sit on the floor by end of this year, surely I see it very, very unfair. Why should a local authority fail to finish desks while a block is completely done? So, Honorable Minister, I think there's need to ensure that our local authorities are given with people with enough capacity. Rural roads. We have a road, Honorable Minister, from Buriambeva to Nagatala, which was started by our colleagues. I think it was just done to ensure that they can change the minds of the people. Honorable Minister, that road has been abandoned, and to date, the area is impassable. We don't know what is happening. I've been to the ministry. Now I'm told that the contract was cancelled. And I want to agree when others insinuate that you only cancelled contracts from the other side. I want to bring it on the floor of this house that even my road from Mbeba to Nagatara was also cancelled. And hence, that road is no longer user-friendly to the people of Dundumwezi. Please come back. Yes, we have procured our equipment, but I'm again coming back to the capacity of our local authorities. Why is it taking all this long to bring only 3 pieces of equipment? So others within the local authorities, Honorable Minister, they are saying that it's because of the Procurement Act. And I want to ask if it's true that there are difficulties in ensuring that these services and goods are delivered within the shortest period of time because of the Procurement Act. Why don't we attend to it? You have given us the money, Honorable Minister, but we cannot utilize it fully because of the Procurement Act. And I want to ask you that the earlier we attend to this Procurement Act, Honorable Minister, the better. I also to talk about the disaster component. Honorable Minister, in Dundumwezi, we have lost a number of infrastructure because we take a lot of time to attend to them. And the same reason, or the same issue, it's as a result of the procurement. I have schools which were blown off. I cannot quickly go back to roof them, money sitting in our accounts, but because of the Procurement Act, we cannot attend to them. Right now, we are in the rain season. So surely, I would suggest that, Honorable Minister, if this money is very difficult to be utilized by the local authority, why does this component of the disaster management be taken to the chairperson of the DMMU in a district? Who is the DC? Or even I was trusted, I was voted by 23,000. Why don't you send that money to my office so that immediately I have a disaster, then I'm able to quickly attend to that disaster. If I misuse, now you have a police vehicle in my constituency. Pick me and then take me to the police, Honorable Minister. I answer. So please, we want that money out of our local authorities because it's not helping us. Honorable Minister, Dundumwezi now is at 123,000 inhabitants. Either in the district or in the province, we are at number 8 in terms of population. Now, my question is, why don't you declare us as a district? But before you declare as a district, I would love Kalabo to be upgraded to a municipality. It has been a district from the colonial times to date. You have, the first capital city, by the way. Why should we continue at that lowest level? Dundumwezi is a grain basket, and you know that. When you are talking about agriculture in southern province, you don't mention Dundumwezi, then you have lost it. So please, if you declared us as a district, Honorable Minister, definitely we'll have a lot of revenue out of the grain levy. Masabuka is a municipality because of the grain. And other cities, for example, talk about copper belt because of copper. We are also a maize belt. We are also a maize belt as a constituency. Why don't you declare us as a district? Honorable Minister, we need to look at the issue of capacity with our local authorities. We may be talking about sending enough money, but I want to inform you that if you check through our accounts, you'll find money lying there, not attending to challenges. Why Procurement Act? I thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. Dr. Mwanza.
Thank you so much, Chair. I will go direct to action points where the Minister can take note of our contribution from Mambwe constituency. I will directly go to CDF. Honorable Minister, I also follow the echo from other honorable colleagues to compliment you for the hard work, and please, you need to continue. In order for us to effectively and efficiently use the CDF in Mambwe constituency, actually we are advocates of the CDF. But we have seen very little being done because of procurement problems. There's need for the local council to produce procurement plan for implementation of all community projects. We have 2022 approved plan of action, but out of the 2022 projects, only 4 are ongoing. The rest are at procurement stage. We don't even know why. Every time knocking on the procurement officers and the council officers, it is all procrastination. Honorable Minister, the planning and execution of CDF projects, more especially infrastructure projects such as the Ministry of Education, schools, and so on and so forth. There is need to harmonize, to include officers from a beneficiary ministry, because like if a project is a 1x2 classroom block, there's need to bring in DEBS officers on board, because the works department only at local government, they do not have all the necessary expertise for the complex, for different projects that take place in a constituency. So if it's a project for a dam project, there must be officers from Ministry of Water and Sanitation. Also, maybe even from Ministry of Agriculture. If we're talking about a deep tank, we need to have officers from Ministry of Agriculture. Looking at the designs because we have standard designs in these community projects. Most of these designs, yes, it's a standard design, but there's very little information concerning the BOQs. The BOQs must be localized because the ground that you're going to put up that building is different. The ground conditions are different and so on and so forth. So the cost estimates that we're executing these projects have a very big variance in various areas. So there's need to involve consultants and real architects to do the BOQs. The other point is the presidential directives projects. The whole of 2023, in terms of like Mambwe constituency, 60% of which is 60% of the total establishment, most of the funds are going to presidential pronouncements. We are glad because the same projects are benefiting the constituency. But however, we find that, like on the police vehicle, my constituency has got no police station. So the vehicle will be at Petauke, Boma. It is not going to be utilized in the constituency, apparently. But to some extent, I'm relieved because the constituency will, for the first time, we're going to get a police station to be funded under CDF. And I'm thankful to the Minister of Home Affairs to have accepted our application to have the first police station in our constituency. I also go to effective planning of implementation of these CDF projects, more especially community projects. There is need, Honorable Minister, to center. We need to have a master plan of how we are going to position buildings. And in that plan, we also show at least at what time, what stage, when are we going to build maybe a 1x2 classroom block and the location. So it is easy for the WDC, for the planning of the WDC. Furthermore, the procurement of contractors. Honorable Minister, we want to, of course, to empower local contractors that are within the constituency to win these projects, to participate in these projects. Now, in our constituencies that are so much rural, no much expertise are there. And therefore, the projects are advertised as national bidding. Well, open tender is acceptable, but there should be a way in which we should relax certain kind of criteria, because we need to harness from the skills training that the constituency has benefited. Now, these people that have received the training, they do not have registered companies that meet the minimum criteria that is under ZPPA. But we can just relax the rules, maybe even just a cooperative certificate. But yet, even just a cooperative certificate should be enough for that cooperative to win a 1x2 classroom block, as long as the proposed personnel have the experience that deserves. I can also echo about the customary governance. I've seen the allocation of 138 million kwacha to chief's welfare. Honorable Minister, we would love to consider government support to traditional ceremonies that are everywhere across the country. And it is through these traditional ceremonies that we enhance our cultural values as Zambians. But there's no government support to these traditional ceremonies. With these few remarks, I support the budget. Thank you.
I think this has been the most debated head since we started. We have allowed the most people. Hence, the minister will now wind up for the sake of progress.
Thank you once again, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the opportunity to respond to the very constructive comments that have come from the colleagues. And in doing so, I would like to thank them most sincerely, all of them in their collective, for the kind words that they've used to describe how we run our ministry, our office. I don't take that for granted. Honorable Shaluvalo, yes, indeed, it's a great day, and I'm going to couple your comment on the 20% local authority equalization fund, which is your concern, together with the Honorable Member Francis Kapianga and all the other members who are concerned about the local authority equalization fund, 20% for community projects. The expansion of the Constituent Development Fund by size and by extent has in many ways overshadowed this 20% component. I think that is an agreed position. And because this came at the time when our honorable councillors, those who are at the lowest point of political order, the word, they are pushed to get attention in terms of remuneration, came as an innovative thinking from myself and also the Ministry of Finance, that because we have so many things that we have to attend to in terms of competing needs of our country requirements, it became difficult to find a complete revenue stream to allocate the emolument or remuneration for the councillors. And therefore, we decided we were going to get that from the 20% local authority equalization fund, which has been overshadowed by the massive constituent development fund. This, I must confirm to all of you colleagues, honorable members of parliament, that the local authority equalization fund was ring-fenced in legislation. And so in the last cabinet meeting, we started the process of repealing the Local Government Act, especially the part that ring-fences the use of the utilization fund to only community projects, that 20%, in order for there to be elasticity to draw monies or funds from there in order to meet the requirements of our honorable councillors who do so much on our behalf, especially when we are out here. This also answers to the comments, Honorable Sande Chanda, about you and your colleague, the MP for Nalolo's motion that you moved to attend to this very issue of the well-being of our councillors. Unfortunately, as you know, we could not implement that because you brought it in the midst of a fiscal year, and because we, as has been demonstrated under the supervision of our Minister of Finance, that as much as possible, what we budget for is what we spend. We couldn't midstream just start changing the approved appropriated monies in the last budget for this year. And so the issue of crossing points, I think that we have addressed that. That 74.6 million kwacha that we've put includes the issue of crossing points. And also the feeder roads that honorable members are lamenting about. We have obviously placed some resource there, and we are reprofiling the way things were going in the past. Honorable Banda from Muchinga, you are concerned about certain roads and you are asking me to re-advertise those roads that we cancelled. I want to re-emphasize and reiterate that those contracts were a fraud, most of them. And it became inevitable. They were just another way of what's the word? Basically destroying the treasury. Okay? And so we had to stop and start afresh in a manner that we were going to save money. And so it became inevitable that we stop, and side to that, honorable member. These same contractors would normally have one set of road earth-moving equipment, which we have obliged you as a council to buy, so that you can work perennially throughout the year to make sure that your roads are motorable. And these have a 30-year lifespan. And when you compare the cost of this equipment that we compelled you to buy against what was being spent every year in Kaumbwe, there are roads, Zumaire Road, I'm sure that is your concern. If you buy equipment, you are going to be working 24/7, 365 days in a year to make sure that your roads are motorable. And the only thing that you'll be looking for is the oils and the fuels and the service. That over a period of time, you will see that you will spend less and less money, but you will have achieved more and more work. Honorable Member of Parliament for Nyimba, I got your comments, and thank you also for your kind words. The issue about the exclusive use of the...
Honorable Minister, wind up.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. The issue of the exclusion of members of Parliament, as you put it, especially on the left, is something that I'm going to attend to immediately. Because in the CDF law, it is clearly stated that this particular piece of equipment is for the exclusive use of monitoring and evaluating the CDF project. Having said all that, it should also be understood that the President agreed for the MP to take charge of this motor vehicle, save for the fact that we were inhibited by the Public Finance Management Act, which says that all equipment must be under the custody of the controlling officer, who in this case is the town clerk or council secretary. And as we get on, I'm sure that we'll close in the gaps and make sure that if we manage to change that law, maybe the vehicle can now be domiciled at the MP's office. But for now, because we're a law-abiding group, our hands are very tight. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity.
Head 29, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, head total 7,745,212,536. Any debate? Any objection? I see none. I put the question. The question is that head 29, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, head total 7,745,212,536 stands part of the estimate. As many are of that opinion, say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Head 29, Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, head total 7,745,212,536 is ordered to stand as part of the estimate. The next head. We now move to head 18, Judiciary. Head 18, Judiciary, General Policy Debate. The Honorable Minister of Justice, Policy Statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The judiciary is one of three arms of government established by the Constitution as provided for under Part 8. It derives its mandate from the Constitution of Zambia Amendment Act number 2 of 2016, and in particular Article 119, which provides that the authority of the judiciary vests in the courts and shall be exercised by the courts in accordance with the Constitution and other laws of the Republic. Thus, the mandate of the judiciary is to hear civil and criminal matters and matters relating to and in respect of the Constitution. This is in accordance with Articles 118 and 119 of the Constitution of Zambia as amended. Mr. Chairman, the structure of the judiciary is set out in Article 120 of the Constitution as follows: the superior courts, subordinate courts, small claims court, local courts, the Sheriff of Zambia, and courts as prescribed. The vision for the judiciary. Mr. Chairperson, the Honorable Chief Justice set out the vision for the judiciary complementary to the strategic plan in giving general direction of overcoming the challenges the institution faces. These were summarized into three thematic areas that run through the backbone of the vision for the judiciary. Mr. Chairman, we move to performance review for the period 2021 to 2023. 1. Court sessions and circuits. During the period under review, the total number of gazetted sessions and circuits for the superior courts remained at 119. The maintenance of the number of criminal sessions was attributed to the constant average number of criminal cases received. Further, enactment of the Children's Code Act enjoins the judiciary to hear and determine matters involving juveniles without delay. Case returns. In 2022, a total number of 178,572 civil cases were filed across the courts in the country. This represented an increase of about 12% from the previous year. The courts disposed of a total of 210,765 civil cases, which was 35% more than the cases that were filed. Meaning, to all intents and purposes, Chairperson, the historic cases that were received are being attended to as the judiciary exercises its mandate. In terms of criminal cases, a total of 47,130 cases were filed in 2022, which was 5% more than the previous year. A total of 46,046 criminal cases were disposed of by the courts, which also represents a 6% increment. Chairperson, during the period under the review, the Honorable Chief Justice promulgated a number of rules and regulations relating to the exercise of the mandate of adjudicators under the courts and tribunals. In addition, the court is in the process currently of formulating rules of court in relation to 1, the Economic and Financial Crimes Court, 2, interstate succession rules, wills and administration of tested estate, probate rules, and small claims court rules. Chairperson, the Judiciary also submitted drafts of the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Act and the Subordinate Courts Amendment Act. In terms of the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Act, it was done in conjunction with the Ministry of Justice, and together with the Penal Code Amendment Bill, these have now been enacted into law following presidential assent after consideration by this House. Chairperson, the Judiciary commemorated its Golden Jubilee this year in view of the fact that it was established on 14 September 1973. The commemoration of the Golden Jubilee saw a number of activities. Amongst them, we had radio and television appearances, an open day exhibition, a secondary school quiz competition, inter-university moot court competition, and public lectures, and all finally capped by a special valedictory session of the Supreme Court held at the Mulungushi International Conference Center. In addition to the activities referred to above, the Judiciary further undertook the establishment of advisory committees as follows: an advisory committee on performance management, an advisory committee on information and communication technologies, and an advisory committee on law reforms. His Lordship also established advisory committees on election management and the small claims court. Chairperson, additionally, and in line with government's decentralization policy, the Judiciary handed over motor vehicles to the following provincial centers in an effort to also enhance access to justice: Kawambwa, Samfya, Mwililunga, Zambezi, Kabompo, Mukushi, Serenje, Mumbwa, Kaputa, Mbala, Kasama, Isoka, Chinsali, Mpika, Petauke, Chadiza, Monze, Namwala, Lukulu, Mongu, Shangombo, and Sesheke. This is in line with the devolution of funds to the provinces with the aim of ameliorating the operational challenges faced by courts in the districts, such as lack of transport. I note, Chairperson, the specific commendation received from the Honourable Member for Shangombo, which is duly acknowledged. Chairperson, the National Juvenile Strategy for 2022 to 2026 was developed in the period under consideration. This was in an effort to bring the Zambian juvenile justice system in line with best practice and international standards. Additionally, the Judiciary prepared service charters which all go towards improving the service delivery on the part of the Judiciary. In the same vein, Chairperson, the Judiciary has made significant efforts towards continuous professional development. To this extent, an induction training workshop for the newly appointed judges of the Constitutional Court, Court of Appeal, and the High Court was held from 8th to 17th May 2023. The induction was aimed at enhancing the legal expertise and skills of judges necessary for them to excel in their roles. In addition, the judiciary conducted the following training programs. 1, economic and financial crimes training, training of trainers workshop in conjunction with the Judicial College of England and Wales, in-house training for court marshals in the High Court and Commercial Court divisions, High Court in the Commercial Court division, beg pardon, and training for court clerks and office orderlies. Further, the judiciary has caused, through the Ministry of Justice, that a bill on the Judicial Training College be brought before this House and is currently under consideration. Mr. Chairman, the judiciary has got in place a robust infrastructural development plan, which is part of the expenditure that is to be incurred under the 2024 budget under consideration. Key issues to be addressed in the 2024 budget. In the 2024 to 2026 medium-term budget plan, the judiciary will continue to place emphasis on addressing the following key issues: actualization of financial autonomy in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution and the recent judgment of the court, creation of a paperless judiciary. Mr. Chairman, it is without question that a paperless judiciary will be eco-friendly and will enhance the efficiency of the judiciary at all levels. It is therefore one of the key priority areas for the judiciary in the 2024 to 2026 medium-term plan aforementioned. It will also enhance the ability to quickly dispose of cases using technology as a backbone for doing so. Mr. Chairman, as I conclude, I would want to add that in addition to the various interventions mentioned, the judiciary aims at ensuring that it improves its delivery of justice to the citizens of Zambia, and the 2024 budget that is put forward for consideration before this House will help it fulfill its mandate. Mr. Chairman, I thank you.
Mr. Chala.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to give me this opportunity to make some few comments on this very important institution. There is no justification why I should not support this budget. Mr. Chairman, this institution is where all of us run to settle disputes. It is very important for this institution, judges, magistrates, to ensure that they help Zambian people to interpret our constitution and defend the same constitution. Because if the constitution is not interpreted in the way that people appreciate, people could start losing the judicial system in our country. Mr. Chairperson, I know all the organizations in this country has their own constitution. It's only the judiciary.
There's a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, the entire period, my point of order is on the Chief Whip, Government Chief Whip, and it's based on Standing Order number 158, procedure in the Committee of Supply. Mr. Chairman, it is procedurally correct that a minister will read his statement, policy statement, on the head under approval. Today, I witnessed the Minister of Justice delivering a policy statement on the judiciary, a head I thoroughly support, when there is no quorum in the House. The entire period that the minister delivered a statement, the entire period that my honorable colleague behind me has been tendering his debate, there has been no quorum in the House. And the chief whip, Mr. Speaker,
Order,
allows...
order, honorable member. I think issues to do with numbers, secretaries always take note. And as a presiding officer, I'm always alerted. To that effect, I haven't received any. And if you look at the numbers currently, if you are to count, we have a quorum. So I don't know what you are talking about. So let's avoid politicking. The quorum is here. May the honorable member on the floor continue.
Mr. Speaker, I was trying to say that the judiciary is very, very cardinal in our communities in this Republic of Zambia, because that's where everyone ran to. The interpretation of our constitution, the interpretation of any law, we can only get this information from these judicial officers. We have issues in this country. It's only then when we go to this institution, when they make a ruling, then that issue.
Order. As the time is 12:55 hours, I interrupt proceedings and committee work stands adjourned. The Committee of Supply will report progress and ask leave to sit again. Madam Speaker, I have to report to the House that the Committee of Supply on the estimates of expenditure for the year 1st January 2024 to 31st December 2024 has considered Head 29 and has made progress and asked leave to sit again.
Day for resumption of committee work.
Tuesday, Madam Speaker.
Committee work to resume next Tuesday. The acting leader of government business, adjournment.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
Thank you so much for being with us on Parliament Television. The House is adjourned till next week on Tuesday. Before we leave, a recap of what has been considered on the floor of the House when business resumed at 09 hours. And just before adjournment, the House was considering Head 18, which is the Judiciary. The Minister did present a policy statement, and on the floor of the House was the Chipili Member of Parliament, Mr. Pochala, who was debating. So when the House resolves into Committee of Supply next week on Tuesday, the member will continue debating. Joe, when business resumed,
Yes,
Madam
indeed,
Speaker.
So when business resumed this morning, Madam Speaker did make an announcement on the inaugural Research Awareness Week, which was launched in September 2022. So Madam Speaker did say that the Research Awareness Week has culminated into a research fair. The 2023 Research Fair will be held from Tuesday 21st of November to Friday 24th of November 2023 at the main reception lobby and the foyer here at the main Parliament buildings. So Madam Speaker did say that the objective of the fair is to stimulate demand for research services offered by the research department and also to emphasize the importance of evidence-based debates in the House. So she did say that the theme for the fair is leveraging constituency offices as research satellites for enhanced data collection.
And in this vein, Madam Speaker,